Hello. Take what you want.
And I've only recently come to understand why she did that.
Hi guys.
On the 5th weekend, Josh and I were counting our money. Because we both had a machine, we each had a separate stack of money that we put together in one stack and then split evenly. We had made a total of $16 that day, and as Josh paid out my $5th, a feeling of profound surprise consumed me. The dollar said, for stamps.
I don't feel comfortable.
Josh noticed my shock and asked if he'd miscounted. I told him about the dollar, and he said, "That's so cool, man." As I thought about it, I came to agree. The idea that the dollar had made it right back to me after changing so many hands floored me. I rushed inside to tell my mom, but my excitement coupled with her being distracted by a phone call made my story incomprehensible, and she responded simply by saying, "Oh wow, that's neat." Frustrated, I went back outside and told Josh I had something to show him. Back in my room, I opened the drawer and took out a stack of envelopes and showed him some of the pictures. I started with the first picture and went through about 10 before Josh lost interest and asked if I wanted to go play in the ditch before his mom came to pick him up. So that's what we did. We had a dirt war for a while, but that was interrupted several times by the rustling in the woods around us. There were raccoons and stray cats that lived in there. This was making a little too much noise, and we traded guesses at what it was in an attempt to scare each other. My last guess was that it was a mummy, but in the end Josh kept insisting that it was a robot because of the sounds we heard. Before we left, he got a little serious and looked me right in the eyes and said, "You heard it too, right? It sounded like a robot. You heard it too, right?" I had heard it, and since it sounded mechanical, I agreed that it was probably a robot. It's only now that I understood what I heard.
Oh god, I said it wrong.
When we got back,
This is
Josh's
really
mom was
creepy, by
waiting
the
for
way.
him at the kitchen table with my mom.
This
Josh told his mom about the robot. They laughed and Josh went
I'll
home.
put like a non
My mom and I ate dinner, and then I went to bed. I didn't stay in bed for long before I crept out and decided that, due to the day's events, I would revisit the envelopes now since the whole affair seemed more interesting. I took the first envelope and set it on the floor and set the blurry desert Polaroid on top. I laid the second envelope right next to it and placed the oddly angled Polaroid of the building's top corner on top. Until I formed the grid that was about 5 by 10. I was always taught to be careful with things that I was collecting, even if I wasn't really sure that they were valuable. I noticed that the pictures gradually became more decipherable. There was a tree with a bird on it, a speed limit sign, a power line, a group of people walking into some building. And then I saw something that vexed me so powerfully that I can now, as I write this, distinctly remember feeling dizzy
I might make
and
Clara a
capable
bit
of only a single repeating
different
thought.
because I don't.
Why am I
Because
in
I want
this
to. Because I
picture?
can.
In this photograph of the group of people entering the
She
building, I
can
saw
kill scissors.
myself holding hands with my mother in the very back of the crowd of people. We were at the very edge of the photo, but it was undeniably us. And as my eyes swam over the sea of Polaroids, I became increasingly anxious. There was a really odd feeling.
CC
It
Toga's
wasn't
way
fear, it's a feeling that you get when you're in trouble.
See,
I'm not
Toga's
sure why I was
shorter
flooded
than
with that
single
feeling,
ghost.
but there I sat,
Due to
wondering
Toga
with the
being a
distinct
child,
sense that
like
I'd done something
16,
wrong.
I'm not gonna make
And this
16,
feeling
I'm
only
gonna make it
intensified as I looked
really
on at
tall
the rest of the photos
to
after
try.
the one that had so
That's what I say
powerfully
about
struck me.
it.
I was in every photo. None of them were close
I am a
shots,
clockwork
none of them were only
Jew.
of me, but I was in every single one of them.
I'm
Off to the side and the back,
crossover fan
bottom of the
there.
frame.
I'm a big one.
Some of them
I like
only had the
nothing
tiniest
but
part of my
crossover
face captured at
fandoms.
the very edge of the
So
photo, but
it's
nevertheless
nice
I was
and
there.
Clara.
I was always
William
there.
Henry.
I didn't know what to do.
Oh god.
Your mind works in funny ways as a kid, but there was a large part of me that was afraid of getting in trouble simply for still being up. Since I already had the looming feeling of having done something wrong, I decided that I would wait until tomorrow. The next day, my mom was off work and spent most of the morning cleaning up around the house. I watched cartoons, I imagine, and waited until I thought it was a good time to show her the Polaroids. When she went out to get the mail, I grabbed a couple of the pictures and put them on the table in front of me as I sat waiting for her to come back in. When she returned, she was already opening the mail and threw some junk mail into the trash can, and I said, "Mom, can you come here for a second? I have these pictures. Just give me a minute, honey. I need to mark these on my calendar." After a minute or two, she came and stood behind me and asked what I needed. I could hear her shuffling with the mail behind me, but I just looked at the Polaroids and I told her about them. As I explained more and pointed to the pictures, her frequent and okays decreased, and she was suddenly completely quiet and only making a little noise with the mail. The next noise I heard from her sounded as if she was trying to catch her breath in a room that had no air left in it. I At last her struggling gasps were conquered, and she simply dropped the remaining mail on the table and ran to the kitchen to get the phone. "Mom, I'm sorry, I didn't know about these. Please don't be mad at me." With the phone pressed against her ear, she was running back and forth and shouting into it. I nervously fiddled with the mail next to my Polaroids. The top envelope had something sticking out that I thoughtlessly and anxiously pulled on until it came out. It was another Polaroid. Confused, I thought that somehow one of my Polaroids slipped onto the stack when she threw the mail down. But when I turned it over and I looked at it, I realized I had not seen this one before. To my dismay, it was me, but this one was a much closer shot. I was surrounded by trees and was smiling. But it wasn't just me, I noticed. Josh was there too. This was us from yesterday. I started yelling for my mom, who was still screaming into the phone.
Hello,
I repeatedly yelled for her until she finally responded with "What?" And I could only think to ask, "Who are you calling?"
Wait, can you hear me?
"I'm talking with the police,
Say
honey."
yes if you
"But
can
why?
hear me, please.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do anything." She answered me with a response that I never understood until I was forced to revisit these events from the earliest years of my life. She grabbed the envelope off the table, and the picture of Josh and I spun and slid, landing next to the other Polaroids in front of me.
Good.
She held the envelope up to my
Can you say
eyes,
yes
so I
if
could
you
only
can
look
hear
at
me,
her and
please,
watch as the
Mr.
color
Guy?
began draining out of her face. With tears welling up, she said that she had to call the police because there was no postmark. Whoever had sent them delivered them personally. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading and illustration of Pen Pal. I really enjoyed this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading and illustration of Pen Pal. I really enjoyed this one. Who are you calling?
Wait, can you hear me?
I'm talking with the police.
Say
I like how weird and creepy it is. It gives you that
My
uneasy
phone's
feeling
about to
without
die,
really
but
giving
I
you any
don't care.
answers. If you enjoyed it too,
savage.
let me know. And if you have a creepypasta you'd like me
was
to
I about
read,
to
feel
find
free
out
to
what
suggest it.
wasn't I?
This
Great.
one was suggested multiple times by different people, which is one of the reasons I ended up doing it. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Stay safe out there, guys. Thank you to all of my patrons,
I'm watching a movie
including
as well,
Catherine
so-
BG, Gaia Muscayo, Scott Peterson, Weave, Ellie Quiznak, Miss Misu, BB Dave, Kato Cat, Christy Stewart, Pinamo, Elizabeth Albin, Cal Pompone, Loaf, DeSweet 12, Aaron Sawicki, Super Pixel, Taka, Isabella Spooky, Lovely, Lachlan MD, Mystic,
When you and I,
Enzo Gilbert, Your Boy ST, JJJ, Laura Buter, Pastel G-Man,
Right,
and
if
Hattie
you're doing
Visual.
dead and Gacha,
Thank you guys so
make
much
them
for
really
your
pale
support.
because the colour drains out of your face when you die. That's me. How I know that, I just did. So. I need to listen to the thing in the background. Oh, I'm just gonna give you a warning. The stuff in which it's kind of got a bit very scary and not really suitable for. I mean, it's fine. They're not as scary as normal creepypasta stories are, so, but it's still kind of scary, and I would give you a heads up and warning just so you guys won't be petrified.
Missing last year. I hope you enjoy. Last summer, I flew back to my hometown for a school reunion. It had been almost 3 years since I had graduated from school, and aside from close friends, I had heard nothing from the rest of my class fellows. The reunion took place at the school itself, lasting till midnight. I arrived home early that day, giving me time to catch up with my family before I headed down. At the reunion, almost everybody had turned up. There was food, drink, and plenty of time to get up to date with what had been going on in everybody's life.
I'll go put
Boys I
my
hadn't
favourite
seen
creepy
in
draw
ages
store
gave me
on. It's
aggressive
really
hugs and said
good.
things like,
I
"Long time
know.
no
I
see."
think you guys will like it.
Girls I hadn't seen in ages
What
fussed
is
over me
it?
in a motherly way, saying things like, "Oh my goodness, you're so..."
Is this it?
Hey everybody, it's Lavender Town, and I hope you're somewhere cozy and safe because today I'm doing part 2 of My Friend is a Plastic Surgery Monster. This is a continuation of the story, so make sure to watch part 1 first. I hope you guys enjoy. Once I got home that day, I called the police in hopes that they would catch Hiren on time, but that didn't happen. Police found nothing but trash in her home, no corpses, and not even a sign of the girl herself. And since she had also been missing ever since, they had no evidence or the means to perform an arrest. I omitted the fact that she had been operating on herself while I was hiding inside the wardrobe, as I don't want them to think I'm crazy and discard the things I said. Her parents have now
I'll come back
officially
later.
been
My phone's